And here's what's crazy. Sometimes you've been putting up with somebody's shit for decades, for a long time. You have been having an alcoholic as a partner or a child or a dad or a mom or whatever, and you have been so busy sweeping up messes, giving them cold compresses, bringing them their green smoothies, trying to make sure they're okay, smoothing over more than just the smoothie, right? For them, putting up with, tolerating their behavior, making excuses to families and friends when they can't do stuff, going to bat for them, being the only person that's like consistently there for them. And then they get sober and they have the goddamn audacity to get mad at you for all of that stuff. And they'll say things like, well, you enabled me. Yep. If you hadn't been enabling me, well, all those times when you should have held my feet to the fire and you didn't, and I was drunk, and instead of like getting me to rehab, you held my hair and helped me puke. I mean, this is the shit people have the nerve to say to you. And you're like, are you kidding me right now? Do you think I enjoyed pulling over and letting you puke and leaving the party early and covering up for you and carrying you out of that place so nobody was, do you think I enjoyed all these things? You're like, how could you possibly be mad at me for doing all that? It's crazy. But what you think people will get mad at you for, like you'll get mad at you if you hold their feet to the fire, if you send them into rehab. The addict gets mad at that, but the person that wants to be in a relationship with you adores you for it. They're like, thank God you did that. I can't tell you how many times I've heard cries of gratitude for being an asshole. Thank God you were so direct, Heidi. Thank God you pulled no punches. Thank God you didn't let co-sign my bullshit. Thank God you didn't let me get away with anything because now our family's better and restored and healthy and happy and whole. But what they will blame you for is signing up for the circus and participating in your role. You were the ringmaster and they were like the lion or the donkey or the jackass or whatever. There's going to come a day when they're going to be mad at you for that. And you're going to scratch your head and just be like, I can't even believe it. But it's important that you know that it's their right to be upset about people that have enabled them in their lifetime. It's their right to be upset about the people who like held the door open or went and bought the drugs with them. It's important that they get to that part of their recovery where they're like, you know what, that wasn't okay. We shouldn't have been doing that. In fact, that behavior that you enacted was toxic and dysfunctional. Enabling me was your flavor of toxicity. That was your damage. Okay. Like, remember, what's your damage? Well, that was your that's your damage, was helping them stay stuck and sick. And so there's going to be these moments where they start to get mad at you and start to see things that you're like, you got to be kidding me. You're upset that they start getting angry about the way that you communicate. They say, well, you're not open with your feelings and thoughts. They get into recovery, they start sharing, and they're like, well, you need to get into recovery. You don't know how to talk or you don't know how to communicate. And you're like, are you kidding me? I've tried to communicate with you when you were drunk and you peed in your own pants for like 10 hours last, Tuesday. Now you want to judge me for how I communicate with this? Like unfathomable to you that they would have this perspective, but they do. When they start to get well, they have anger as well, and they're allowed to have that anger. And so are you. So the other piece of this is the addict or alcoholic thinks that when they get like, hopefully, if you're watching this as a couple, right? And the sober person's like pushing you right now. They're like, yeah, Pam, I'm gonna learn to be mad at you. See? Well, now here it's your turn. Are you ready? And guess what? Your partner is very allowed to be fucking mad at you too. Okay? Because what happens is you go to treatment and you're like, thank God that's over. Oh my God. And you feel it from the depths because you've been struggling with alcohol or addiction for decades, right? Long time. And you're like, thank God this is over. And it really is over for you. And you're happy to move on and you just want to put it behind you. And the last thing you want to do is deal with all the shit that you did and all the things that happened and all the anger everybody feels. But you actually need to do that. You need to sit with your family when you're strong enough, after you've been through recovery long enough, you have your sea legs, right? You've handled life. How long is that? I don't know. Long enough where you feel like psychologically and emotionally you can handle it.